Welcome back to the channel, guys. Got a lot going on today. We got an electrician coming, the same guy that actually put all this stuff in here for me for my machines. He's gonna come and put a sub panel because I'm actually out of room in this panel. It's filled up and it's thinned out beyond, you know, condensing anything any further. So sub panel, the main goal of that is to add a mini split. It is just brutal in this little box of a shop here. And yeah, it gets humid here. It gets just, the weather's been bad. You guys know this. But with that, having a mini split, it's at 18,000 BTU, which is good for 750 square feet. This is only like 400 square feet. So I'm going a little oversized just because I am gonna have a window here eventually. Eventually, this happened like 6 months ago. I cut this out and I was like, I'm gonna build a window. Just haven't had time. That all changes in the coming weeks because I'm gonna set myself up for success on actually building a window here. I've got one over in this room I'm gonna build as well. But you may have noticed as well, I didn't do a video on this, but I painted my doors. So remember, this was Spanish cedar stave core. We built that. This was a mahogany panel, mahogany muntin bars for this window here. And this thing looks beautiful. I just wanted to paint it. I wasn't really a fan of the look of it. I kind of lived with it for a while and I was like, you know what? I just like the classic white for my trim. So that's what I'm gonna do, or for my doors. The trim, on the other hand, I switched this one over. You guys are probably gonna be like, I thought you were committed to that DeWalt yellow. No, we took it to the Makita teal. I think that's what we're gonna go with for this shop, just to make it fun. And I painted this door as well. So again, this one was solid Spanish cedar for the stiles and rails, and then mahogany panels. So I think it looks a lot better. Still looks really cool with the brass hardware. But anyways, my goal today is to get set up for making windows. A big part of windows is making sashes. So I've got my bits here, but I'm slowly realizing, I was messing around with this the other day, that when you're using these bits, like there's my sash bit, and it makes also the cutout for the glass insert. Then there's these other coping bits. There's another sash profile bit. So the problem that I'm having with that setup is I'm trying to get these window sashes dialed in, and it's really annoying. Like, I think I have one bit dialed in, so I'm like, okay, I think this one is right where it needs to be, so let me pull that out because I only have one router. So I have to put the other bit in, and then I think I get that one dialed in and it's a little off. So I'm like, man, this is just not efficient. So I've done some research, and all the guys who really do this professionally, they have multiple routers set up dedicated to one bit. So it's like, oh, I need another muntin bar. Oh, I'll run that through, done. You don't have to sit there and fuss around with trying to get it set up using a setup block. So really, it's just an efficiency thing. So what I've decided to do because of that is I'm gonna go buy 3 more router tables and 3 more routers. They're not gonna be these expensive extruded aluminum ones like the Summerfield table here. I'm just gonna get benchtop Bosch routers. I mean, I'm not gonna be doing big sheets or anything like that. These are literally little pieces of trim, like 2-inch thick boards. So Bosch router tables, Bosch routers to match them. I went to Lowe's and online and they have them in stock. So I'm gonna go get them. They're like 200 bucks a piece. I got military discount. Boot camp was definitely worth it. So I'll get those, and then the routers are like 200 as well. So all in, I'll be looking about like 1,000. So not too bad to have a dedicated setup, and if you price wooden windows, they're freaking expensive. Like real wood windows, they're a lot more than 1,000 per window, even for small ones. And I've got my Spanish cedar over here that I'm gonna make these out of. But my goal today really is to just get set up and get this thing dialed in. So with that, I'm gonna wait for this electrician. They just text me that he's on his way, so I can let him in here and get access to all that. And on a side note, Ashley's cousin actually does garage doors for a living. And check it out, we upgraded these right here. Chamberlain with the app. So pretty cool. These things were old, and I really just wanted to upgrade them because the old ones were chain drive, and they were so loud. And the kids' rooms are up there, and it's just like every morning when I leave, I'm like, they're gonna wake up. Push the button, just like just crazy. So these are really, really quiet. Check this out. Go push that button for me, Josh. Go ahead. That is so much quieter than my old one. I wish I would have recorded like the sound of it. So yeah, I highly recommend, if you have a chain drive, just upgrade to a belt drive. The chain is probably longer lasting, I would guess, but especially if you've got people above your garage, they would probably appreciate it if you went with the belt. Sparky is here doing his thing. We'll let him do that, and I've got some Amazon returns. This is that Makita cooler. I decided against it. If you saw the last video, you saw the thing was pretty goofy. I mean, the concept is there, but I don't know. I'm not one for reviews. It just wasn't for me overall. I really just think I'll be better off with a big cooler and just getting ice. I've tracked down, I need 3 of these routers. Like I said, I've tracked down 3 of them at the Lake Worth Lowe's here in the Fort Worth area. So that's where we're headed. And thankfully there's an Amazon return place right over there. So my plan is to get the tables first and then try to hunt down the routers, because I think the tables are gonna be more rare. They take up more shelf space. And I've been looking around, and you know, one Home Depot, or Lowe's I mean, says we've got 1, another one says we have 1. This one actually says they have all 3. We'll see if that's accurate. I noticed a lot of time on these inventories, they're not accurate. Sometimes they have 0. So it's gonna be a hunt today, hunting these things down. So we'll see what we can come up with. Hopefully we strike gold on the first run. All right guys, here it is. The good old Bosch. He said he has 4 in stock. He's got 2 more up on the shelf over there. All right, he's got 1, 2 of these. He might have a 3rd one somewhere. I'll ask him. But we may hit the jackpot first try here. I can't believe it. He actually has everything I need. He has 4 tables. I'm getting 3, and 3 routers, the fixed base Bosch routers. He's going up right now to get them. I can't believe, like, I'm in shock that this is all at the same location. Good. Knew that freaking alarm was gonna go off. But I don't know what I'm gonna do now. We've gone Dewakita. Now I've got all this Bosch. I mean, Debachkita. I don't know, this is a tough one. Well, $1,200 later, but I think it's definitely gonna be worth it. All right guys, that's all that's left over. This was actually pretty intense, but check it out. We've got our 3 Bosch routers, all in our Bosch router tables, and this is freaking awesome. Now, I don't ever want to build one of these again, just because building these 3 consecutively is kind of mind-numbing, but if I had to do it, I could do it in like 15 minutes now. The first one took 1.5 hours. This one took an hour, and this one took 30 minutes. Like, literally, no joke. I was just learning it because obviously I knew what to do at that point, and they were going together really quickly. But it's just like, when I opened the next box, I was like, here we go again. Then I opened the next box, here we go again. I've got all the routers mounted in there to put these together. I had done a lot of things, like talk to the electrician who was actually able to finish up today, and he gave me a new panel. So this is our sub panel. This was not here earlier. We just had that one, and this has a dedicated spot for that mini split AC that I'm gonna add, and it has a dedicated spot. Well, this goes to that now because he had to take a spot out of the original panel to add a link between the 2. So this one, I believe, feeds this, and then this now goes to that. And then the AC right here goes to the outside. I'll show you what he did out there. So here's what he added out here. This is a quick disconnect for that mini split. If I take this cover off right here, there's a place for me to run my wires, and then I just poke this knockout, or there's one on the bottom, whatever works better for me. But that's what he added out here, and that's really what I needed. I wasn't gonna DIY this part of it. And that's usually where I pull the plug on DIY stuff. I don't mess with electrical. The only thing I ever think about when it comes to doing something like this is me killing myself or burning the place down. That's no joke. I'm like, I'm not touching it. I'll move an outlet. You guys have seen me move outlets for wainscot and stuff, or I'll change a fixture, but that's pretty much the extent of it. I'm not gonna mess around with anything that has to do with breaker panels or whatever. I'm not, but I will do mostly any other things like plumbing, AC. But even when the AC gets into the electrical, I tend to back off. So yeah, essentially we are good to go now, and I can install that mini split. That's gonna definitely be a DIY because there's videos all over YouTube on how to do that, and that's how I got the idea to begin with. So within hours, when that thing gets here, I already ordered it from Amazon. I'm gonna have AC in like 3 or 4 hours from the time that arrives, which should be next week. So that's gonna be freaking awesome. I can't wait. But anyways, back to these routers. These things are actually very well constructed. I know because I just built 3 of them, but the overall construction actually, you know, is the worst part. It's MDF, but the precision parts are aluminum. So the insert right here, the table insert, is aluminum, and it's actually pretty freaking awesome. You can adjust the bit height from the top of the table here, and the fence, the T-track right here, all aluminum, all really good stuff. They give you feather guards, which I'm actually going to use these for my bits. And speaking of bits, these are the bits right here that I'm going to dedicate to these tables. So this bit right here is a cope cutting bit, and it's basically a negative image of the actual profile that you'll see on the window, and that's so you can cope and stick those together. So that will be dedicated to one of these tables. The next bit that gets a dedicated table is going to be this one here. This is the profile that you will actually see. So there's the profile cutting bit. And then finally this big bit right here. Now this bit right here, I'm actually not gonna run this as a, you know, double team bit like this with these 2 cutters. I'm gonna take this off, and I'm gonna take that off, because that profile cutter is the same exact one as this one. It's just upside down, so you just basically flip the face of the stock to get what you want. But there's a guy here on YouTube, Steve Quillian. His YouTube channel is Wooden Window Makeover. I highly recommend it. I'll link it in the description, but I'm learning a lot from that guy, and this is where I actually got the idea to kind of have these dedicated tables for this. He doesn't run this bit as one either. He runs it with, you know, the 3 separate. So this bit right here, just the glass cutter, will be ran on its own as well. So this one, that one, and that one, that's why I got these right here. So I can have a nice efficient setup and won't have to take these out every single time. That was just a nightmare. I couldn't wrap my mind around doing that. So yeah, overall I'm happy with these 3 tables. So far I haven't ran them obviously, but they're very well made. They seem like you can't really beat this value. This is not a sponsored video, trust me. I just threw down my own money on this. But they've got this nice access door right here, has a magnetic clip. They've got a switch right here that will actually turn the router on. I've got this one plugged in, so we'll flip that. Got it on low RPM, but yeah, routers seem to run nice. Bosch routers are good. That's actually what is inside my Castle machine, and that thing works really well. That's like the first Bosch router I had. But now I've got 3 more. So you can see it up in there. Like I said, you can adjust the height of it from above the table, and that's actually the little tool that does it. So yeah, that router just plugs into here. You leave the router on and you flip the switch. Comes right on, and there's actually another outlet back there where you can run a vacuum. So you can plug a vacuum, so when you turn this on, the router and the vacuum come on at the same time, so that's pretty sweet. I'll probably just run it with my dust collection, but looking on this side of the table, you can see there's a dust collection port right there. They all have them, obviously all the same table. But yeah, man, I don't think you're gonna find a better deal on this. I mean, feather guards, aluminum parts, just overall a really good build. I don't think they're gonna have any struggle ripping my little muntin bars and sash profiles. So yeah, we are in business. Next thing I need to do is get all these bit heights figured out, get them dialed in, and then start making some jams. And then I can start making some sashes based on those jams. So it's gonna start moving in the next month or so. I'm gonna be getting this stuff done. And yeah, I'm just still trying to get set up. It's crazy, like 10 months later since I got here, I'm still adding stuff, adding an AC, adding tables, and I'm sure there'll be more, but I can't do too much because I'm gonna run out of room before we know it. That's why I like these little guys over here. So anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for me today. At least when you see this stuff now, you'll know how this came to be. So when I'm making these windows, you'll say, oh, why does he have 3 routers? Well, that's why.